We're going to be talking about a topic that is immensely important right now, that we're all discovering what AI is capable of and what it can do. And we haven't yet talked about who's actually using the AI or variations of different AI. And in this panel, we're going to touch upon the youth dealing with AI, touching AI, using AI for the various purposes, mostly in education, but also partially in sports. I would like to invite our three guests, Charlotte Dungan from Cuban Foundation. Charlotte is joining us online right now. Charlotte, if you can hear me, you can say hi. I would also like to invest. Yes? Okay. Hey, Charlotte. So nice to see you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I would like to also invite Dr. Elnur Mammadov from Ministry of Youth and Sports of Azerbaijan to join me on stage, and Zeno Tosoni of H-Farm. Yeah, you may sit here. We're only three men in this room, and we also have. Thank you so much, Emma. All right, thank you so much. Yes, we're gonna pry into our guests' work in the field of AI in education and sports. And we're fortunate and privileged to have three guests that are absolute pioneers in using artificial intelligence in education and also in sports. And we all have heard about also Cuban's aspirations to bring education, to bring AI in education in order for kids, high school kids, and a bit older or younger kids not to fall behind in AI education. We also have Zeno from H-Farm, who has agreed to join us in Ljubljana, and we also have some history with H-Farm, as OriginTrail also came to be out of that acceleration program, and they have an immensely beautiful venue for high school students to come there, and as of lately, you're also focusing a lot on AI education. Zeno is going to shed light on an entrepreneurial angle of AI in education, as H-Farm is also taking the ideas further and helping students commercialize them. And Elnur is going to help us understand how Azerbaijan is using trusted AI to advance not just the way the youth comes into contact with AI, but also how do they advance their own capabilities and skills in different branches of sports. So without further ado, perhaps I would start with Charlotte to give lady the first place in answering questions. We've heard that AI is kind of a delicate thing, especially in the context of young people using it. And a lot of artificial intelligence products have not yet been fully tested, even amidst the older generation. So I'm curious, what empowerment do you, Charlotte, see through the AI within the group of high school students and the boot camps approach that you're using, and the way you also select, I'm curious, the way you select artificial intelligence products in order to ensure that they're safe and that they can indeed bring all the benefits to your students?
Sure. So we work with high school youth across the US, and we run out-of-school boot camps. One of those is a sports and fitness track. So we focus on using AI to prevent injury, to improve performance, and to have some team analytics. And one of our partners is Who We Play For. They're a nonprofit in Florida, and they, I know in the EU, if you play a high school sport, you get a heart monitor as part of your regular annual physical, but in the US that doesn't exist. The check for your sudden cardiac death risk is actually only if you're a very high level athlete. So one of the examples we give to students about making things safer and better is that Who We Play For is trying to prevent sudden cardiac death in high school youth in America. And they're doing that with AI. So They've given us their data set of heart data it's the largest data set in the world of youth hearts that have been tested. And they're building a model so that any place that doesn't have mandated heart testing can make sure that students are safe. So that may apply in the US, but it applies in a whole lot of other places around the world too. And by giving students examples like that, we can really ensure that they're not only preventing injury or sudden death in this case, but they're able to see how by solving a software problem, you can actually save lives through fitness, which is really, really interesting.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Perhaps, Zeno, you have a lot of experience in entrepreneurship. You've been an entrepreneur yourself in your previous career. You also sold your company, and then later you joined H-Farm to help students advance their business ideas and bring them to market. And now you're at the helm of an accelerator at the H-Farm. So I'm curious to hear your experience in that, and how do you really take that talent that exists in high schools and at your college, and bring their smart ideas in the market, whilst also making sure that these same students are safe and that they use AI in a way that actually benefits them.
Super, thank you, Žiga. I think it's a very good question. Maybe I give you a little bit of context, as I don't know if you know what H-Farm is. Personally, a little background, I started being a civil engineer, like one of the other speakers, but then I realized I don't want to build bridges. I want to build companies, and so I built my own company. I was lucky enough that then was acquired by a large group, and so I saw, let's say, all the process. And then I learned that I don't want to build company. I want to help young students, young people building their company to maximize my impact, let's say. And that's why I'm in H-Farm. In H-Farm, we started investing in startup in early stage teams, in around 200 startups. Then we started helping companies, so we created consulting company, and so large companies start arriving in the middle of nowhere next to Venice. That's where we are located. Then we started the school, so we said we are crazy enough to invest in 200 startups. Are we crazy enough to start a school in Italy? Yes, we did. Now we have 3,000 students outside in our campus. And we launched H-Farm Science with the Italian Institute of Technology. All of these things just to say that we can give, let's say, quite a unique perspective, because in a unique, let's say, in a place, in a physical campus, 60 hectares next to Venice, there are different actors that contaminate themselves. One of these actors are students. And to answer your question, Žiga, as basically all of the universities that there are in Italy or in Europe or wherever, they started as a university. We started as a startup incubator, where also OriginTrail was accelerated back in the days, and then we built a school. So it's completely opposite. And so what we are attracting are those kind of students that they have this entrepreneurial mindset that they want to start a company. So how can we help them? That was the starting question. And I'm not sure if we answered that question yet, but the results are promising, because we have 18, 19, 20 years old students bootstrapping companies, making millions in profit without raising money from investors. So that's promising, and that are addressing a relevant problem. And that's another, let's say, promising thing. So how we do that, to simplify? Of course, as you know, you cannot become an entrepreneur in class. But in class, you develop the toolkit needed to speak a language of, I don't know, an investor or whatever. And so there are in-class activities and in-class, let's say, topics, and then we help them outside of the class. So we select the best teams of our students, and we help them launching their own companies. So plus, we believe that letting them be inspired inside the ecosystem is an important thing. So we let them have access to panel. I don't know, 2 weeks ago there was Federico Faggin, the inventor of microchip. Our students have lunch with him, and so being inspired is one thing. Being in class and develop your toolkit, plus get your hands dirty in transforming a problem into a company. So I think those is the mix that we are trying to approach.
Wonderful. I'm hearing a lot of potential synergies between Mark Cuban Foundation and H-Farm. Definitely would be great for the two of you to talk after. Elnur, Azerbaijan seems to be on a trajectory of really bringing together important data to help athletes to excel even further. And I know it's an ambitious endeavor, but given also Azerbaijan's exposure in international sports, how do you foresee artificial intelligence can be used to help athletes excel further through verifiable knowledge exchange? And how does Azerbaijan foster such a collaborative approach to bring athletes in your country to an even higher level?
Okay, first of all, I don't want to go direct into the question. I wanted to share with you why we decided to use the AI, how it's happened. This year, we started to implement our strategy, the 10-year strategy for the sport development of the country, 2025, 2034. And this strategy was designed for the last 2 years. And every company, this body, state bodies, are trying to have the strategy, and everyone's trying to say, I have a strategy, I'm implementing this, etc. But even during the development the strategy, we understood that one of the main issue is trusted data. It's real data. And that's why we decided during the implementation to use the AI in implementation process for monitoring the implementation process, and also to see how we're making the improvement. And that's why we decided to build a 10 models system, and the AI will be on the upper layer of this knowledge graph. And there will be let's say, the different model for infrastructure, different model for the coaching education, different model for the events and the economical impact, and for the athletes' results. And after that, of course, now also there are good chance to demonstrate the new platform, the new project. It's called the AzerFit. And AzerFit, it's one of this model, which is the national system that monitors the physical development of school children and the support objectives, talents, identification using trusted AI. How it will be and how is now is. It's we are twice per year, the all motorical and the morphological data from the school kids will be collected in one system, and then for all the stakeholders will serial it will help there for the talent identification, and also we will see in the real situation that maybe we have the issue with the obesity. Maybe we have the issue with some kids, is not doing the sports. And this trusted data will help us to make the immediately reaction. Not to wait, let's say, the 4 years, 8 years, and after some issues to identify that. That's why, in this case, the implementation of the AI in the strategy implementation, it's helping us to with the monitoring this to correct us, you know. And another point, it's about the trusted data. Today we speak about, you know, there was many discussion about the to believe to the AI or not believe. Of course, if there will be build the trusted data, and the AI will be upper of this trusted data, we can easily use this AI for the as a tools, which will be the always help us to make the correct decision. And another point, it's about the here many people who is on the top level in the strategy implementation. Another very important point, one the people trying to manipulate with the data, because everyone want to show how they successfully implemented, etc. But here, the top management, the people who is responsible for the strategy, they can easily, through the system, they receive the real data. They receive the real picture of the situation, which can give the big opportunity, big chance for the decision makers in their, you know, to make the correct decision on the trusted data.
I love it how you started immediately right off with the purpose to bring in trusted data. And if I know that you also have a demo to show a little bit later after the clock is done ticking. And in this demo, it really nicely shows how you're using the trusted data to advance the sport at the national level. Charlotte, going back to the United States, how does the implementation or the application of AI in education, in your view, differ from other places, perhaps Europe? And what are some of the risks that you foresee in using AI for education, and also some benefits? So how do you mitigate risks to really, you know, squeeze out all of the benefits in your case?
Well, gosh, what a big question. So our systems are only as good or as bad as the people who use them. That's just true. So we need, as much as we innovate, we also need those same guardrails. And that's really why I decided to come here today, is I feel like you're building systems that benefit people. When we talk about trusted AI, we need those systems built into our learning management systems so that when students create things with AI, we know what their part of the conversation was, who contributed, and how we can use AI for the benefit of students. Because what I'm seeing a lot is, let's use auto grading, or let's take the teacher out of the loop in really meaningful ways where they lose agency to work with students and connect with them. It's like we're trying to get higher test scores at the expense of being really excited about what is possible in education. And I see this in sports too. I'm going to go back to that athlete angle a little bit. Is like we have students who are really young. You've got 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds who are specializing in a sport, where used to be you tried a lot of sports through adolescence, through 12 years old. You maybe played 3 different sports, and then maybe you found one you were really good at, and you chose to go with that in your high school years to focus. So now we're seeing that kids specialize really early based on their body type. And with AI, I think we're going to start to see that maybe you can't play a sport because you're the wrong body type, or the wrong, you're not going to be successful. And so I do think that there's potentials for flourishing, or there's potentials for us to see a lot of harms. And it's really up to us to build systems that protect people. And I think the EU is in the lead here, and keep going, because we need something to happen there. We're simply not creating systems and regulations in the US that prioritize safety. We're prioritizing speed at the expense of humanity. So I hope that we can all work together to build an equitable pipeline where students have specialized training opportunities, but we still allow them to play and receive the benefit of sport. The same reason that we receive the benefit of education for the benefit of ourselves and our communities and our families and building the world we want to live in, rather than like workforce development starting at age 9. Like that's not why we have not been, born into a world to create widgets. It's like we value other things in the world, and so we need to balance the opportunity of AI and what can happen with our essential humanity.
Not to be left behind, and at the same time, I know you have a very capable team, and also your founder, Mark Cuban. He actually has a nose to discover a very good talent in terms of the athletes that he cherry-picked, and he actually cherry-picked one of the Slovenian athletes for the NBA, Luka Doncic. So I'm sure you guys are on the right trajectory with such a foundership, and yourself at the helm of the boot camps. Zeno, how does the selection process, or how do you determine the talent? Which student has the spark to bring him further into the entrepreneurship career? How do you determine that? You work closely with students. Is AI helpful with that?
Okay, that's a good question, Žiga. I would say that one of the reasons why company fails, the main reason is people. No, so selecting the right people in the start is crucial. AI is not directly helping us in selecting the people. Definitely is helping us in making the process more efficient. But the human still final decision is crucial. What we see that are, let's say, key factor is first of all the spark in the eyes. No, if that person do not have the spark in the eyes, is not gonna, let's say, cross all the challenges that we must face in the upcoming future. So that's the first thing. Second is the ability to work with people that have different skills and to attract people. And so I believe that AI is important, is super getting our, let's say, job and much more efficient. But on this kind of topic, it's not crucial. The human factor is let's say, is the most crucial. Another thing that I want to share, we have a lot of scientists in our campus, and what I'm realizing is that they are working on super cool technologies, but they are not able to communicate. And so so when you're not able to communicate what you're doing, it's very hard that people will adopt. And in that sense, AI is helping a lot in making complex, let's say, concept, in simplifying very complex concepts. So,
fantastic. Yeah, coming from also H-Pharma, we have background and staying in your accelerator in one of the previous iterations, I can really attest that it's not just about the technology and AI. It's also about I think one of the readings on the wall read, beautiful hearts shape beautiful minds at the H-Farm. And it's also about, humans in the loop, and not just in the loop, humans at the helm of this.
Yeah, it's correct. The age of H-Farm is human.
Human.
Stands for human. And it's strange that it's human in the loop and not robot in the loop. But
exactly. Yeah, perhaps question for all of you. And how can governments, accelerators, and AI education initiative collaborate globally to ensure AI empowers rather than exploits or that it causes harms? And we're again privileged to have 3 speakers here from the governmental perspective, from accelerator, and also from the bootcamp perspective. So I'm really keen on hearing your thoughts. Perhaps Elnur, you have like a very interesting position within the Ministry of Azerbaijan. How is the government taking on such initiatives and integrating perhaps wider feedback from the environment, from accelerators, from schools, and so on?
In this case, in Azerbaijan, for us, it's a little bit easy because of the president of the country has signed a decree about the AI and the implementation of AI in there. because of the country, if they wanted to be the competitive, of course they need to use the AI. It's about the creating the knowledge. It's about the knowledge management. Of course, that we can't decline this. And it's very important about how these state bodies will use the AI. Of course, we discussed today, there are many discussions about the just AI is becoming the very important in our life. And some years ago, it's same situation was the internet, or the phone, but it's not possible to replace the human, because of in the end of the day, the decision making need to be staged on the decision makers, not the AI. And that's why it's very important from the state policy to define on which area and how it will be used. For instance, in our case, we use the AI as a control for the monitoring and for improving monitoring and for implementation of our strategy, and which will be the very good and to assist. Also, for instance, we can get from this and from this data. It's about one of the very point. It's about the health status, is to predict the health status of the nation for the future, and to calculate how much money do you need to correct it or to implement this, etc. And that's why, from this perspective, it's not need to say, don't use the AI. It's not impossible to. It's very important to educate our kids how correctly to use it, to educate to the people in the state bodies, the decision makers, not afraid of to use the AI, but how it's possible to use it. In our case, again, when we discuss it with our professor, the Edward Kohler, he's here. One of the main points was about the hallucination about the AI, because of then we understood, okay, if to protect this, to be protected from this kind of points, we need to develop the own database, the knowledge graphs, and then the AI will be on top of it. And that's why, for another point, last point, it's about the coordination between the state bodies. It's many times some state bodies, they're responsible for some direction. For instance, we have responsible for the sport policy. Okay, but there some data can be also used by the other ministries as well, which can help them, in some decision-making process. But unfortunately, and that's why AI, if it will be some AI on the top of this all trusted knowledge graphs, then the states will get more trusted information, more trusted knowledge. How we can now going to do it in the strategy implementation on the ministry level, this is same can be on the state level with the different ministries. And I think it's just the future of the implementation of the AI.
Given how deep we have gotten so far with Azerbaijan, also we have given you some knowledge about the DKG and also some hints of how it can be, and it's already being implemented. We hope to see, one of the future iterations of the DKGcon possibly also taking place in Azerbaijan, in Baku.
Thank you.
Charlotte, perhaps also your perspective. I know, again, Mark, I've seen his talks also about, how schools should adopt AI and not to let kids be behind in that regard. What is your thinking about, how can governments also help shape education with the knowledge you can perhaps present to the government and experience you have?
Yeah, the first is that we need priorities that embed responsible AI in student learning beginning in the earliest grades. So right when you start school, you understand that AI is not alive and it's not real, and that you can distinguish between what is AI and what isn't. And then continue to emphasize both AI education and our humanities or social studies courses and ethics courses through university with those required courses in the CS programs in university. So many computer science programs for years did not have any ethics courses at all. And so one thing I've worked on here in the US is embedding those courses and then making them a graduation requirement. So universities around the world can at least do an audit and assess if they're doing that. And then, my job is to bring you technically competent and ethically committed young people. But even if you deliver that all the way through the education system, the market quietly pushes people in these systems into creating things that are extractive. So the thing I would say for young developers in the audience is that you must work for companies that allow you to live your values, because you will not shape the company. You'll be an accomplice. So commit to working for and building systems that are responsible and trusted, because that's what we need, is people who make their own workforce choices that they've learned throughout their education, and then recommit to building those systems in government, that are regulated so that that people can compete in the marketplace in a fair way. And we want, like, for example, small businesses to be able to thrive when they choose a healthy supply chain. So it can't be like so much cheaper to do the wrong thing or so much easier to do the wrong thing that even good people begin to do the wrong thing. So we really need government to step up and make these systems safer for people to do the right thing in their businesses.
Well said. It's about the values first and foremost. Zeno, perhaps your view on that?
No, I completely agree on what she just said. Maybe I just add the fact that I think communication is crucial, and so breaking the barrier with the government, letting them be aware of what, in our small case, we are doing, and the impact we are having on many young students, I think will help. Designing a pattern that is more efficient. So having a more clear communication. As an example, we were part of the policy that created the law for startup in Italy. If there was no communication, if they didn't involve us in that, it would be much, much harder today establishing your own startup in Italy. And so that was very, very important, communication. Then on a level of education, it's an important topic. The use of AI, of course, in H-Farm is mandatory. It's not, we oblige the student to use AI, otherwise there is no literacy. But what is important is that outside of the class, so at home, there is literacy as well, so that the parents do know the topics, let's say, and the teacher as well can support. So the combination of these three things allow us to have students that are empowered with AI and not scared about that.
Perhaps one last question for each and every one of you. What is one concrete actionable step that we could take for the next year to make AI be used responsibly in sports, in education, and in young entrepreneurship? Like one short statement each, perhaps.
Very quickly, on our side, we are building a commission on ethics that evaluate all the projects, all that is inside is embedded in our decision-making investment process, and the other thing is in all our program, can be acceleration program, pre-acceleration, or schools, having ethics of AI as a topic, and those are the two things that we are working on, a small cent on this.
Great. Charlotte?
Yeah, the first thing is that schools are going to be slow, so support students now. There are three components. One is fund educational initiatives outside of school, wherever you are. The second is advocate for education in the schools, understanding it will be slow. That would include both AI and data science in core curriculum. And the third is help. So if you have this technical expertise, schools do not. So you can help write resources as subject matter experts. You can mentor bright young people, and you can contribute to the pipeline that serves the business community going forward.
Thank you so much. Actually, Elnur, I have a suggestion. You have a presentation of a system, like I believe 5 minutes. And this presentation, I think it nicely not just encapsulate what is a concrete step for Azerbaijan in the next year, but it also nicely shows what the next step is. So we're going to do that following the conclusion of this panel. I would like to thank you, Charlotte. Hopefully we can see each other next time, perhaps in the States or in Europe. And also hope that Zeno and also Elnur find ways to collaborate with your initiative. That would be great to see, as we're about inclusiveness. Thank you both. And I'm going to ask Elnur to stay here, perhaps to show the system. And I would propose one small change in the program. Given that we're a little bit overdue for lunch, I would suggest we do the presentation of the system in the evening. We have plenty of time then. And then Elnur just uses this time to show the system. Okay. If that works.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Okay.
One applause first for the... Okay, we have a presentation we can fire up. Yeah, perhaps Elnur, if you could tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. This is okay. May I?
You can also stand here.
Okay.
Perhaps you'll see it better.
Okay. As you can see from on the screen, it's possible now that we'll demonstrate how the data for the one kid city will be filled out for the system, and then how it will be there will be many questions and how the AI will react for that. It's very important that it will be the two different, the morphological and these parameters will be identified based on the requirements of by the federation, because of it will be the difference from sport to sport. And the very important point, which the parents also will have the access for the profile of the kids, and why it's very important, because of sometimes the system will show that in which sports the kids is very talented, because of we met the situation when the parents don't want to let kids to go to the sports. They're telling them, okay, let's go and they continue your education, and they hear that through the system they will know exactly in which sports his son or daughters the kids are very talented.